All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of What's That Whiskey here on Drums and Drams. My name's Cameron, and today we've got a sample sent in by a great friend of the channel, Justin from Spirited Reviews. So let me go ahead and pull this out now. Justin has sent 5 samples. I've already done 1 on a previous episode of What's That Whiskey. Today we're gonna do A1, which is the very first sample in this box of samples that he handed off to me at our barrel pick in Indianapolis at Backbone. Let's get this over here. We'll pour the whiskey out into the glass. And just a quick reminder that these episodes of What's That Whiskey are all about me trying to put my blind tasting skills to the test. I'm trying to guess all sorts of things about this whiskey, age, proof, type of whiskey, distillery, whether or not I think it's finished, a bottle guess, and anything else that seems relevant at the time. You will see all of those guesses appear on the side of the screen. Then they're gonna turn green, yellow, or red, depending on how right or how wrong I was. And then at the end of the video, I'll do the final reveal for myself out of this reveal envelope that Justin provided. Let's go to the nose now. It's a fairly light whiskey, actually. And so I'm keeping that in the back of my mind. Maybe lower proof, lower age. Could be any of those things. Here we go to the nose now. All right, so first impression on the nose. It's a little bit of a sour kind of profile. I think that's like the first thing I notice is this like lighter fruit, sour kind of profile. Yeah, there's definitely sourness here. It's like pears. The fruit note in here is pear, but I'm gonna say like pear skin because it's got a little bitterness on the nose, a little sourness in there as well. And also kind of like this rye character to it. Almost reminds me of a Willet green top rye. Some of those have dill, some of those have this like almost vegetal quality that Irish whiskeys would have, like green pepper, sometimes even like broccoli. Like there's just all sorts of these like green, herbaceous, and vegetal notes that some of those Willet ryes can have, and they vary quite a bit. This has a little bit of that in there, and then of course like just this generic white pepper note that accompanies some of those greener rye characteristics that I'm picking up on. So I think first impression for me, not only as I try to guess what this is, but also try to evaluate the whiskey. Do I like it? Do I not like it? How am I gonna rate this thing? It's not my preferred profile on the nose, but I'm just gonna be interested to see how this drinks because it does feel like it's a little bit of a lighter thing, a lighter proof maybe, like lower proof, lighter profile in general. Let's go back to the nose now. Okay, so as I go back to the nose, now that I've kind of gotten used to what feels like somewhat of a rye influence with those greener qualities and that lighter fruit, especially the sourness too, now I'm starting to pick up on this like buttercream thing. And so it's adding a little different element to the whiskey that reminds me almost of, and this is gonna sound crazy, Weeded Heaven Hill. Like I feel like I'm getting a Weeded Heaven Hill vibe, like the Old Fitz 7 that came out this year, the 100 proof bottled and bond, like $60 shelf version of Old Fitz. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of the sweet quality from that whiskey. Yeah, on the nose here. So this is a little bit all over the place. I just have to go to the palate and see if it can bring things together for me and help me figure out what's going on here. Here we go. Yeah, this whiskey is a little bit, it's coming out of left field for me. That's maybe the best way to put it. There is this like slightly nutty and grainy and actually grassy. Like I talked about some of those green notes on the nose. On the palate, those are coming through as freshly cut grass, so definitely not my jam. That's the primary thing on the palate. The primary thing on the palate is not that sort of sour, bitter pear note that I got. It's the first thing I noticed on the nose, and it's actually the last thing that I noticed on the palate. The palate is kind of inverting the nose for me. However, I don't feel like I'm getting like a lot of different notes on the palate. I feel like the notes are all there, the notes are consistent, but the way that they're presented and the percentage that I'm getting of each of them is completely inverted from nose to palate. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's just something worth noting here. This has to be on the younger side, you know, I think, and if it's not on the younger side, I don't know. As far as distillery goes, I have literally no idea what this is. This is a very confusing whiskey. At first I was thinking rye. Now I'm thinking it's just like a weird Kentucky, maybe high rye bourbon that I don't exactly know what it is, and the proof point is very approachable. I gotta go back in for a second sip now. Something about this feels so familiar to me on the palate. Again, this like sweet, very slightly creamy texture, that relates to that kind of buttercream thing that I was getting on the nose as I dug in a little bit more. Now that's front and center on the palate. And that creamy texture and that sweetness with the grassiness in here and that light fruit, there's just something about this that feels so familiar, and I'm having a hard time like pinning it down. Proof-wise, I feel like the max proof this could be is 105. I'm tempted to think that it could be a bottled and bond product, and it could just be something, yeah, I don't know. It could be something like that old Fitz, or maybe old Granddad's 7-year bottled and bond. Like that's kind of where I'm at. But the grassiness on here is what's really bothering me. I think I have to do one final sip in this video to figure this out. But I think a situation like this hopefully is giving you a little bit of an insight, or maybe you're like, this guy's crazy, into my process of blind tasting. Like, I'm always trying to funnel things down, and they talk about this in the wine world as well, where you try to basically eliminate first. I think like things that this could not be based on the way it smells and the way it tastes. That could be a proof guess. So when I feel like this is around 100, 105 proof, immediately I start thinking maybe it's bottled and bond, but it's certainly not a cask strength product. So you can eliminate a lot of things. On the age side, it doesn't feel that old. 5 to 8 years old. That's quite a range, but I think it's a reasonable range for the profile here. So you can eliminate a lot of things. Then when you start thinking about like characteristic notes of certain distilleries that you might be picking up, grassiness for me, that's not a definitive note of any distillery. It doesn't help me, but what it lets me know is that this is probably a lower tier product, because distilleries typically don't put out, and I might eat my words later, but distilleries typically don't put products out there that have these grassy notes that aren't like $30 or $40 bottles. So I guess it does help me in one way to kind of narrow down to what I imagine is a price point or a certain kind of product, but it doesn't help me know like the actual distillery characteristic. Distillery characteristic in here, slight nuttiness, lighter fruit. My mind goes Heaven Hill, my mind goes Jim Beam. The nuttiness is not sharp, so I don't think Jim Beam. I think maybe Heaven Hill. I think maybe something Green River, because it can sort of have some nuttiness sometimes. But, I'm trying to like let you in on my process a little bit and describe it right now, but at the same time, it's not working because I have no idea what this is. At the very least, I hope this video is somewhat entertaining. Let's do one last sip before I throw out some really random guesses here. All right, so I've just got to lock in some guesses now and let this thing rip. Because of the grassiness, because of the kind of confusing sweetness that I'm getting on here that reminds me of weeded Heaven Hill and all these different factors, I'm gonna pull this out of my ass here, this guess. I'm gonna say this is Rebel 100 proof. I don't know if there's age statements on the Rebel stuff. I think Rebel is a line that's owned by Luxco, which MGP bought back, so they have these Heaven Hill stocks. I don't know, it's a little bit murky for me, but I'm gonna say it's 6 years old, Rebel 100 proof. And the reason I say that is because I'm getting that weeded bourbon thing. I feel like it's 100 proof. I was thinking bottled and bond, something like that. I'm getting some grassiness. And for me, like when Ezra Brooks 99 came out 5 or 6 years ago, that had some grassy qualities to it. That's also a Luxco product, I believe. So I'm trying to put all these things together in my head. And I think Rebel 100, 6-year weeded bourbon, sourced from Heaven Hill, from Luxco. I think all that kind of makes sense to me. And I might be completely wrong here. I hope I am, so that the haters can say, maybe he's not cheating. But if I nailed this, then that's not gonna help my case. What do we have here? Oh, rating before I see what this is. Let's just give it a 70. It's a rookie score. 70 out of 100. All right, here we go. Ah, okay. Silk Velvet Whiskey. I have not tried this yet, and I don't know where it's sourced from. If I had to guess, well, it could be many things. It might not be one source, because I got elements of slightly Green River. I got elements of Heaven Hill and nutty and possibly Beam. It says it's a blend of 6 to 8 year bourbon. It's 107 proof, so I'm a little low on the proof. I set up to 105, it's 107. That makes sense. It did have some spice. 100 never totally felt right, but I went with that guess because it lined up with the Rebel, lined up with possible bottled and bond. 107 proof from Western Kentucky Distillery. Actually, I think they might distill their own stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna need to look this up. If I find any information, I'll try to put it on the screen somewhere if I can. So Jacob Call, which is the former, he's the master distiller here, and it says formerly of Green River. I don't know if he was the master distiller at Green River or just worked there, but Jacob Call is the person behind this. Silk Velvet Whiskey, Kentucky Straight Bourbon, small batch select, blend of 6 to 8 year. I don't have a price point, so I'll also try to put that on the screen as well. But my guess of 6 to 8, my guess of 6 year is close, 6 to 8, 107, decently close to 100. It is Kentucky. It's not Rebel 100. And I don't know if it's weeded or not. Probably not weeded if I had to guess. It's fine. 70 out of 100. It's fine. And that's pretty much all I have to say. It's a whiskey that, again, at the price point, that will determine what I think of it. If it's too high of a price, then in my mind, it's like you're just probably sourcing barrels, maybe, that you're putting together at a price that doesn't exactly track, and no one really needs to take a second look. Or if it's your own distillate, it's at an affordable price, then maybe the story is like, let's let it age a little bit longer. So I don't know. Silk Velvet, let me know what you guys think if you've tried this whiskey. This video has probably gone on way too long. Like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. Cheers, and I'll see you soon here on Drums and Drams.